Stage. Oops. Oh no. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Where is, why do you not see me? Okay, let me go to the banner and remove. Um, how do we remove that welcome? Oh, I know media, that's it. Okay. Hello, everybody. Can you hear me? Seriously, put up the dog video. I would remove the William and Harry from there. Can you hear me, everybody? You can just put me up for now. Just put me. Yep, perfect. Oh, that's interesting as the backdrop. I think what I. Oh, okay. I guess that's how it is. Hi, everybody. Can you hear me? Let me know if you can hear me. Yes, you can hear me. Great. Thank you. Thank you. Yay, 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 yay. Thank you so much for being here today. I really appreciate having you all here. I have a great, great show for you today, and I'm going to be talking about some really interesting things. This show is going to get better and better and better. So be here or be square. So we are going to have a great show. And I want to thank Lizzie B. Thank you. Yes, everyone, please hit that like button on your way in. It's free, doesn't cost you a thing. It really helps with the algorithm. And thank you so much. I really appreciate you all being here. Thank you. Thank you. and okay, and Paula M is here. Woo woo. Thank you, Miss Paula M, for your super chat. Click like, she's saying, and hit that like button. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. 1 second. Do you see the one from when you go to comments, you'll see Paula M. You can highlight her. So thank you for being here today. And thank you so much, Paula M, for your support and for all the information. We talk about a lot. There's a lot going on behind the scenes, but I think being here and learning about this community is important. I think we are making a lot of headway in the Megxit community. There's a lot of people who are really jumping on this bandwagon and talking about Meghan Markle and the royal family, and it's becoming a life of its own. And I think that's part of why I wanted to make this the theme of my video or my live today. But before I do that, we're going to talk about some other things. So if you want to support me, the first thing you can do is hit that like button coming in. Okay. Thank you for doing that. And also follow me on Facebook. I post a lot of videos. I post my YouTube videos there, but I also post videos of my life and experiences with Otis there. As a lot of you may or may not know, I am a first time dog owner. And my life has changed completely from my experiences with Otis as a dog owner, and he has really changed my life in so many ways. When you talk to people in my life, so if you follow me on Patreon, you have access to my private videos behind the scenes with my life, with my family. um, when I travel, my videos when I went to go stay with the Lady C, and when I've gone to Germany. A lot of people in my life are very perplexed about my relationship with Otis because I'm not an animal person. But since having Otis, I have become an animal person, and it has changed my life. So if you want to have these experiences with me as I talk about my life as a dog owner, you can follow me on Facebook, and you can also follow me on my Patreon for a little bit more in-depth videos about my life and personal experiences with my children, with my husband. There's a lot of videos there. So if you really want to have those experiences, please follow me on Facebook and or on my Patreon. Yes, yes, yes. Now, with that said, I also want to just kind of let some of you know if you want to support my charity. And I think this brings me into why I am also talking a lot about Meghan Markle, because as a lot of you may or may not know, I wrote a book. And actually, let me get my book. Okay. Give me 1 second because I do want to get that book. See? Grab this book here. Hold on a second. I'm trying to do this. Because this is important to what I'm talking about today. Mm-hmm. Okay. So, as some of you may or may not know, also, I wrote a book. Okay. This book right here. And you can order this book on Amazon. You can order this book if you want it. But basically, it's my experiences, my global experiences, how it changed my life, seeing the world. I have changed as a person by getting out of America. Okay. And that's what this book talks about. And because I was writing this book during the time that I started my YouTube channel and I started being very critical about Meghan Markle, I put a lot of my thoughts and opinions about Meghan and my own personal experiences around travel in this book. Okay. So I talk about Meghan as a Black woman, a woman of color, and I talk about my own experiences around travel, because it's so ironic how when I started talking about Meghan, I was already running my charity, trying to find ways to get young people to have access to travel because it changes your life. It makes you a more thought provoking kind of a person when you get outside of what you know and see every day. And it happened to me. And I wanted to pass these experiences on to young people. And that's part of the work that I do with my charity. But then this woman came into the royal family and was acting all kind of sort of ways that I was like, what's wrong with this woman? Why is she doing these things? Because I saw her coming a mile away. I saw Meghan Markle coming like there's something wrong. There is a there with this woman. And that's when I started. Oh, can you hear me? Are there comments? Because I forgot to put my headphones in. I'm sorry. Can you hear me now? I think they couldn't hear me. Okay. Okay, so now you can hear me. Okay, apologies about that. But when I wrote this book, I had a lot of experiences around you know, my travel that changed my life, and I wanted to pass these on to young people. And then Meghan came around and I just saw this woman in the royal family that really gave me a lot to think about. I was so intrigued by it because I thought there is something there with this woman. And so I wrote about that in my book. And then, I became part of this community, this Mexican community. And so it really has a lot of the things that I talk about on my channel in this book and my own experiences and how it changed my life, being able to travel and live in different places. I've lived in China, I've lived in Germany, I've lived in the UK. I was actually living in the UK when Princess Diana passed away. And so, there's just a lot that I've lived, and that's what I was doing with my charity. And so some of you have inquired about how you can support my charity. There's the link in the description. So if you want to support my charity, there's a link there to do that. So that's how I have come to write a book, my charity work, and my YouTube channel. It all kind of comes together. Okay. And also, I'm a woman of color. I'm an American. I'm an actress. I'm a lot of different things. And I think my insight into Meghan Markle is very relevant because of who I am, what I've experienced, and what I've been doing in my own personal life around education and teaching people. Because it was always my vision that when I started my YouTube channel, a way to give advice to someone like Meghan Markle, because I saw her not doing a lot of things that could have been done better. She was making a lot of mistakes. Had she listened constructively to what maybe some people in her own life were saying, about her and her experiences in the royal family, she probably would have fared a lot better. But we can see that Meghan Markle has not done well. she's continuing to not do well her life in the royal family, or part of the royal family, and living in California with Harry. It's just a big hot mess, and it's not going to go well. So at the end of this video, or this live today that I'm doing, I'm going to talk about some of the racism that I have experienced. Okay. I'm going to talk about the racism claims that Meghan Markle said she experienced. I'm just going to give you some insight into some things I've never talked about before, because there is some racism in the Megxit community. But there is a difference. There's a difference, and it doesn't get Meghan off the hook either. But I'm going to talk a little bit about that towards the end of this live, okay? And I think you'll find it very interesting. But before we do that, I want to talk to you all today. Actually, let me tell you what I'm going to talk about. I'm going to talk about Harry and Meghan not being good neighbors. I think that warrants a look at who they are as neighbors. It says a lot about their personalities, things that we've always said, and why their reputations in Montecito are not very good. Talk to you today about William wanting to strip Andrew and maybe potentially Harry and Meghan of their titles, and also talk to you about what Ted Sarandos is saying and why I believe what he is saying warrants a deeper look, because you have to ask yourself, why is Ted Sarandos so all in on Meghan Markle and Harry for that matter? Why? He's a businessman, but he is so gung-ho about supporting Meghan Markle. And then I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the racism claims in the Megxit community. Now, for some of you who don't know, I mean, I'm sure most of you do know, but we know the Megxit community are all the people that give Meghan Markle, more specifically, and Harry a hard time about their lives outside of the royal family. Well, I think this community has grown. There are so many people talking about the racism claims. And I'm going to talk to you about this community, not the Sussex Squad, because these are the supporters of Harry and Meghan. I'm going to talk to you about the people in this Megxit community who I'm giving the side eye to. Oh yeah, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about that, but not in a way that's confrontational, but just giving you some insight, because I think I want to share these experiences with you, and not too much, but just give you some insight to look at. Okay, so now the first thing I want to look at really is something that is so funny, because as I mentioned when I started talking about my relationship with Otis. Okay, so when I saw this video today, I could not believe it. I want you all to look and watch this video, because this video is about dogs who are learning to drive. Absolutely. So the Society for Prevention of Cruelty Towards Animals, they have these dogs. One of the dogs is Porter, and the dog has Porter. Okay, it's Porter is one of the dogs that has been taught to drive a car, people. Do you hear me? Driving a car, a vehicle. Now that has me looking at Otis all day long, like, okay, Mr. Otis, should I put you to work? Should I get you to be a driver? Because we know Otis is always with me all the time. I find it so intriguing that this lady has been teaching these dogs how to drive. Take a look at this video. I mean, it is unbelievable. And I think if we can get our dogs to kind of have some slight responsibilities around doing a little bit of, supporting people, that's a good thing, right? So that's something that I think is really interesting. I thought it was really funny to see dogs driving. So let me know what you think of that in the comments. I mean, had you ever seen this before, this video of these dogs learning to drive? I mean, who would have thought, right? Who would have thought? Okay, now let's talk a little bit about Harry and Meghan as neighbors. There's a neighbor, or actually there's a a reporter who has come out and has been talking about um, Harry and Meghan and their what they're really like, because you have to imagine this area in California, Montecito, California, is a really small, it's a small intimate area where a lot of wealthy people live, a lot of people who want to be in an enclosed community, have relationships with people who are of like mind, economic status perhaps. There's a reason why Meghan and Harry moved there. And I think this is really revealing about Harry and Meghan, because you get a side of Harry and Meghan that is more constructive. It's more, we don't know much about the royal family, but what we do know is that they have moved into our community. Okay. I think you can get some insight into what one of their neighbors is actually saying. Okay. So there has been this neighbor who has issued a verdict on Harry and Meghan, and they have claimed that um, they have not been so friendly towards people that wanted to welcome them into the community. Okay. And this information comes from this royal reporter who is talking about this. So they moved, we know, into this very, very expensive mansion, this mansion that has, I think, like 19 bathrooms. I mean, just the pretentiousness of this couple. Who moves into a house with that many bathrooms? First of all, I mean, you are a small family, but the mindset of someone that would move into a house this big that has, I think it has between like 16 and 19 bathrooms, what, 20 something $1 million house. You don't make that much money. You are literally trying to make money in California. You have set yourself off to, like, okay, let's try to be independent of the royal family. And the first thing you do is you move to California to try to have this very, I think, presumptuous type of life. And you move into this very, very expensive neighborhood. Okay. So since they have moved into this neighborhood a few years ago, we know back in 2020, some of the neighbors have since spoken out about them. And there are some new claims about this now, and they've made about Harry and Meghan living in Montecito. Now, this journalist, Richard Menards, who has actually accused Harry and Meghan of refusing to open up their home to an elderly neighbor who wanted to hand over some keepsake items to them. Now, I remember when this story first came out, because it was an interesting story, because this neighbor, this older man who had some really deep ties to the area of Montecito, wanted to give them some keepsake items, kind of give them some information about the history of Montecito, and wanted to talk to them about, the things in the area, just because they were new to the neighborhood. I mean, I think it was a nice gesture. And also someone that was an elderly man. Well, when they moved to this neighborhood and this man tried to address them, they wanted nothing to do with this neighbor. They were so like, leave us alone. That was their attitude. We don't care about Montecito. It's like, leave us alone. That was the feeling that this neighbor got from Harry and Meghan. So this neighbor said that he wasn't able to even get past the gates. And they said that Meghan, she cultivates a very controlled image. And I think it's so important what this neighbor is saying, because we can see it. And I think it gives a lot of insight into what Meghan has since done with her image in California as she tries to pursue this lifestyle in California. How she has done it on a personal level is a small part of that, because it is an extension to what she is doing out into the public realm, where we see everything around Meghan and the shows and the podcasts. I think it speaks volumes. Her personal life in Montecito and what this neighbor is saying shows you what she is actually doing. So this neighbor is saying that she is the one that is controlling the image. She pays very close attention to the appearance, every word, and every gesture that we see. Megan is in control of that. This is what this neighbor is saying. This is his experience just by being the neighbor of Harry and Meghan. Okay. He goes on to say, and here in Montecito, we appreciate simple people, even famous ones, because you can be very famous, but at the same time be simple. But that's not Meghan Markle. Meghan is nothing like a simple person. But that's what they appreciate in Montecito. Because when Meghan moved to Montecito, she had the big head because she felt like now I'm living the high life amongst all the celebrities. I got at the time it was Ellen DeGeneres, it was Oprah, Gwyneth, all these celebrities. So Meghan really had this very presumptuous attitude of being better, I believe, than other people. But this neighbor is saying what the people are like that has been there way longer than Harry and Meghan, that we appreciate people who are simple minded, even if you are famous. Because let me tell you something, folks. Let me just tell you something. And I've heard it from many people. When the times get very difficult and when money no longer has value, and when it comes down to, I would say, maybe the end of the normal life. I mean, we saw part of that during COVID. But when the life that we live now, the norms are turned upside down and money is not going to have any value, your reputation is going to go a long way. And I think a lot of people were saying that these celebrities, the ones that are not very well liked, they're going to be the first ones who are going to be hurting because their security is not going to really do anything for them anymore. Their security is not going to mean anything. It's the people that are not very well liked who are going to have a hard time in when these times happen. When who you are, your reputation, who you are as a person is going to mean more than the amount of money you have in the bank, because the bartering is going to be like way high on the chart of importance. And I think that's going to be part of what is going to hurt people like Meghan and Harry, because, or people similar to Harry and Meghan who have a big head, who have egos, and who are stuck up in their ways. They are going to have a lot of problems. Now, this journalist goes on to say that Oprah Winfrey, for example, shows up at charity events. Meghan doesn't play the community game, this neighbor is saying. He also said that Meghan never tried to fit in. She never wanted to fit into Montecito. Now, he said, on the other hand, Harry, he was different. He appears to be a lot more approachable. He's warmer than Meghan. Okay. I can see that. I can see that because, Harry is the foreigner in America, right? He's the foreigner. So he would be a lot more probably accommodating and wanting to get to know people a little bit better. And the journalist went on to say that Harry is always charming. He's approachable, with his very recognizable Windsor accent. He smiles, he shakes hands, he's willing to exchange a few words here and there. They say, or this man has said, that he's seen Harry at the beach. They've seen him at the organic coffee shop. They've seen him cycling in the hills. Harry has kept his very good-natured side, and that we feel that he is more at ease, even with his personal struggles, okay? But then he said, Meghan, on the other hand, that's a different story. Meghan, she is practically invisible. She's there, of course, but she shows herself very little. Her relationship with Montecito is very different and distant. I think that speaks a lot to how Meghan is in person with other people. When you see her try to be this smiling, accommodating, wanting to show herself to be very friendly. The truth is, as this neighbor has pointed out, she's a very cold person. She's not someone who is approachable. She doesn't want to get to know the people in the neighborhood. She's very standoffish. And that right there is a personal insight into a person that really gives you the real insight of a person when you see them publicly. Okay. I thought that was very interesting that this neighbor has said this about her. Okay. So, with that said, okay. Oh, I want to thank my lovely Michelle is here as well. Thank you. Hi, Michelle. Thank you so much for your super sticker. So, I think having a neighbor say that about you is very revealing. Okay. Now, I am going to also try to make it where I can answer some of your questions. We can talk a little bit about your thoughts on this story, because I think even with people that are very pro Meghan, understanding how Meghan is perceived by the people in her neighborhood where she lives gives the real up close insight to who Meghan truly is, right? I think we want to try to see a person for who they really are. And if you can't really meet them personally, the best way is to, okay, well, what are people seeing that are in their area, who are in their circle, so to speak? I think that speaks volumes to the kind of person Meghan comes across. All right. So let's also now go and talk about something else. Also, let me know your questions and thoughts in the comments about that story. I think that story gives a lot of insight into things maybe some of you may have not heard, or, heard about Meghan about her from her neighbor's point of view. All right. Now, it looks like Prince William is going to make some headway. Definitely make some headway. So here is the story about this with the future King William, because I can't wait for King William. I think King William is going to do things so differently than King Charles. Now, they're saying that Prince William just might end up getting rid of Prince, or the Duke, his uncle, Prince Andrew. So these experts are actually saying that Prince Andrew was urged to be very wary of his nephew, Prince William, when he becomes king, as the royal is tipped to banish the disgraced Duke, according to royal experts. So the Duke of York is no longer a working member of the royal family, as we know, because of what happened with his friendship with Jeffrey Epstein. We know that he also resides at Royal Lodge now, despite reports claiming that the king wants him to move to a smaller property. Now, this is what I heard, everybody. This is what I heard, because I have sources, right? I have sources. And apparently, the Duke is not leaving Royal Lodge. He's not leaving, although the king wants him to. I know there was a lot of news out there one time where the king wanted the Duke to leave Royal Lodge. But there is some information that maybe the Duke has on King Charles. And this is why the Duke is putting his hand up and telling the king, speak to the hand, because I'm not going anywhere. I'm staying in Royal Lodge. And I think that's because, probably from the source that I have that has told me this, that perhaps maybe, yeah, there are some things that the king may be a little afraid of when it comes to Andrew. I don't know. But for me, it gives me the perspective of, yeah, just maybe, the king is, trying to put his foot down, but can't really demand certain things because Andrew may have something that is very damaging for the king. I don't know, but why? I mean, if the king is telling you to do something and you don't do it, well, why? I mean, you're pretty bold if you tell the king no, right? Wouldn't you think? I don't know. It's just very suspect that Andrew is putting his foot down and telling the king, no, I'm not going to leave Royal Lodge. I'm going to stay right here. I don't know. But also that Harry and Meghan have a lot to be afraid of as well, because it looks like Prince William just might end up stripping Harry and Meghan of their titles. So much so that I've heard information around in Parliament that there's been some information or some things that have been happening secretly behind the scenes that is going to prepare Harry and Meghan for, losing their titles eventually. This could happen. And I think, if William wants the support when he does become king, that is going to be something he will need to do. He will definitely need to do that, because we look at all the things that Meghan has done around using her HRH privately, and then also the audacity. And I was thinking about this, when Meghan was on that Jamie Kern Lima show, and Jamie showed that card that said the HRH on it. HRH, the compliments of HRH. Who in the world addresses themselves as HRH? I mean, if you seriously, you got some serious issues if you are telling your friends compliments of HRH. And that card that she showed, by the way, she had to have many of those cards printed up, don't you think? So who else did she send this card to? Because we all know she was very much talked about in her Netflix show to be the kind of person to give gifts all the time. So behind the scenes, Meghan was using this HRH a lot. And the audacity to do that. I mean, Meghan, this woman is so pretentious. I just look at her. She deserves everything that is coming her way. Seriously, she does. Because I mean, I would never, if I had a title, give my friends a gift using a title. That's not personable. That's just showing you got to stick up your butt because you're trying to say, okay, I got a title. Here's my title. Here's a gift to you. And addressing myself with HRH just seems senseless. It's stupid. It's so pretentious. I mean, like, who does that? Seriously, who does that? Right. So, can you let my husband know Mr. Otis needs to go? So this is the time that he goes out. So he needs to take Mr. Otis out because I can't do it on Thursdays because I have my lives, right? So Otis, you're gonna have to go over and be taken out. I think he's in the room to the right, that first room to the right. Okay, go Otis, go. She's gonna take you. Good doggy. Okay, so let me just take a look here and see some of your comments here. Comments. Okay, here we go. All right, here we go. So let's see here. Let me show this. So while Harry lived in the UK, the royal family was able to cover up to the mental state of Harry. But since he is with Markle, he has gotten really bad. She is like poison to him. So thank you, Pat, for your comment. And I have to agree that Harry has become toxic. He has become, I think, poisoned, like you say, because he's behaving in a way that we're not used to. A lot of people are not used to Harry behaving the way that he's been behaving. And I think he's almost in a position now where he is trapped, not his brother, but Harry is trapped because he's in America and he wants to save face. He doesn't want to lose face. He doesn't want people to see that he has made a poor decision by moving to America and trying to make money now. I mean, I'm telling you right now, folks, Harry and Meghan, everything that they're going to do is going to fail. They don't have the support that they need to be successful in Hollywood. They don't have it. Now, the support that they do have is by this Ted Sarandos, right? We know that most recently Ted has come out and talked about how he is supporting Meghan. He's calling her this rock star. He is giving them a lot of support, and I think he's in the same position as Harry. He doesn't want to lose face either, because he is the one that has given Harry and Meghan a chance with making money with Netflix. So we know that the original show that they did for Netflix, it did very well, the Harry and Meghan show. However, the Invictus Games show on Netflix hasn't done well. The Live to Lead, Meghan's cooking show. Apparently, we all have heard that Meghan is going to have a second series or second, episode series come up. But, we already know that was already shot. That's not the same thing. Then now they're saying that she's going to even have a third year or a third series of episodes that are going to be aired. And it's almost like, well, why do you think Ted Sarandos is doing all of this? Well, I wanted to read for you some comments by some people that on Reddit were saying about why do you believe Ted Sarandos is allowing Harry and Meghan to, actually, I think more so Meghan, to have all this access to Netflix, considering that they have not done very well. Okay. So what some of the people on this Netflix says, or actually on Reddit, were saying, and I thought it was very, very relevant, because you have to almost ask the question, why would someone like Ted Sarandos, who is in the business of making money, be so supportive of a couple who have not made a lot of money on Netflix? I mean, they had one hit, but the rest has gone down. I mean, they haven't had the success that would warrant this continued support. Okay. So I wanted to read to you some of what some of these people were saying. You can say it. Can you see it? Let me see. Yes. I don't think they can. Can you guys see that? I know it's pretty tiny, but I wanted to show you some of the comments. Yeah, I can see it a little bit. Let me just go down. So some person wrote, Vino Rosso said, let me put this right. He overestimated the Duchess of Sussex and should have dismissed the Sussexes instead of wasting millions of dollars on the losers. Sounds right on the money, says Harry Rippey. And someone else says, a top situation 8983 says, he underestimated the damage that they would do to him and his company. He should wear his Markled badge with pride. Maybe our resident shop can knock a few up for distribution. Smile, you've been Markled. May I recommend that he be elevated with some flower sprinkles, because we know Meghan likes to elevate things with those stupid flower sprinkles. I just made an almost identical comment. Great minds. I mean, I think the majority of people, I mean, from this whole post around why Ted Sarandos is supporting Harry and Meghan is the same thing, that he is defending his poor decision, maybe because he's trying to save face. Maybe because, he is trying to show or just cover his bases and making sure that he gets the post-divorce documentary. Because we all remember that Meghan was allegedly shopping around a post-divorce book, which would have to be followed up by a series with maybe Netflix. It doesn't make sense that this man is supporting a couple, Meghan more specifically, with her Netflix deal, considering she has not made the kind of money that would warrant that support. I mean, what person has minimal success, but yet still supports them in the public? We remember I think one of the, there was one of these award shows where he was even ridiculed by the comedian about wasting and throwing away money to Harry and Meghan. I think there's something cooking, something brewing in the background that has Ted wanting to be still in the good graces of Meghan, because Meghan is the one that's going to really help him make money. Because I can tell you right now, when the divorce happens and Meghan needs to have a documentary about the royal family and her racist claims and talk about what maybe Harry has done to her, she's going to make a good amount of money with these allegations. And I think he's trying to show himself as somebody who's going to be able to make a lot of money around Meghan's allegations. All right. So this brings me to my final topic of the day. My final topic. And that is around the Megxit community. Now, I'm not going to be naming names, and I don't want to do that only because there's so many people now that are talking about Meghan and Harry. There are a lot of people. Yes. The first thing I want to do is I want to show you the video, the Oprah Winfrey video that kind of got it all going around the racist claims. Okay, so let's just go ahead and let's just take a listen to what Meghan said during the Oprah Winfrey interview.
So,
there is a conversation. Hold up.
there's
Stop
several
right now.
there's several conversations.
There's a
about
conversation with you
it. With Harry
about how dark your baby is going to be?
potentially, and what that would mean or look like.
Ooh. And you're not going to tell me who had the conversation?
I think that would be very damaging to them.
Okay.
It's great to see you here. Thank you for watching.
All right. So I think that's when it all got started. I believe that's when it all really got very serious for the royal family. I think that's part of what Meghan had planned all along. And now there was an article that came out in Vanity Fair back in 2023. Okay. And this article talked about, do you have that article that you can share the screen and put that up? The Vanity Fair article.
You didn't give it to me. Mm-hmm.
It's okay. It's okay. But I'll share this screen, my screen with you, because I want you all to see this article, because I think we didn't quite catch this part. Okay. And it's very relevant to what has actually happened most recently. Okay, so let me just share this screen with you about the Vanity Fair article. Okay. Yep, this article here. So if we look at this article that came out in when was it? In 2023, this article came out in Vanity Fair, and it talked about a new book about the royals that claimed that Markle told King Charles III the names of the royal household members who made those remarks around what Meghan just said, what we just heard her say. That was in 2023. Now, we also know that there were these allegations that came out later in Omid Scobie's book that said who the actual royal racists were. And then my question becomes, how could this article have come out that said that Meghan went to King Charles to tell King Charles about who made those remarks? And then the book came out later with Omid Scobie that actually accidentally named the royal racists. Remember? The royal racists that were named were King Charles and Catherine, Princess of Wales, or at the time, Cambridge. How is it that they first said that Meghan went to King Charles about the racist claims, but then later King Charles was named as the royal racist. Did Meghan go to King Charles and say, hey, King, or at the time, Prince Charles, you're racist? You're the one that said this. I don't think so. And I find that very suspicious. Did later Meghan want to accuse the king of racism after the fact, after she went to him about these racist claims? It's very suspect to me that these claims came out. Okay, you can take that down. So we look at the claims that Meghan made, and I know myself, I talk about how what Meghan is doing, her behavior, it's not about race, it's about her character. And I'm not going to go too deep into the racist allegations that Meghan made at the time, but I can say that Meghan wanted to have people be racist towards her so she would have an excuse. That's my personal opinion. But I never thought people would be actually racist towards Meghan because what she was doing was wrong. It was about her character. It was never about people being racist. Now, I'm not going to go into that, like I said, but what I do want to talk to you about are my experiences in the Megxit community and how we have all these people now in the Megxit community that are talking about Meghan Markle. So many people. But the first person I always said was Danger Zone, Ashley, who has since passed on. And Ashley, she supported me having this channel. She said to me that she thought I would be a great voice for the Megxit. Well, at the time we hadn't used that verbiage, I don't think, but she thought I would do great. She was very supportive of me having a YouTube channel talking about all of this. I told her a little bit about, my thoughts and opinion, and, and I always watched her videos. I couldn't wait for her to post videos so I could hear what she was going to say. She was very supportive. And then I know later I reached out to some other YouTubers that supported me. And then slowly we started finding more and more people talking about, Meghan Markle. And I thought at the time, why is Meghan saying this racist? Why are people even, who was it? The guy in the Netflix documentary, Boozy. Boozy was talking a lot about, this is about race. This is about race. And then even Doria said, yeah, this is about race. This is about race. And my whole talking point was, no, this is not about race. This is about your character, because you got a poor attitude. And we all know what Dr. King said, let's judge people on the content of their character rather than the color of their skin. And with that said, it has come, I believe, to be about race for a lot of people in the Megxit community. There's so many people now talking about this. And I don't say it lightly that the Megxit community is, talking about Meghan's character, but they're also doing it because it is about race. Because I look at the number of women of color that are talking about, or who are in the Megxit community. The majority of people who are talking about racism, or who are talking about Meghan Markle, are non-Black people. Okay. So it could look that way to a lot of people, that it's about race, But I think when you hear myself and there's a couple other women of color who are talking about Meghan, we can see that it is about Meghan's character. But then you start to see slowly that it starts to become actually about race. It really does. It really does. And I don't say that in a way to be complimentary of Megan at all, because I think it's actually a criticism of Megan when you look at it. I believe from a perspective I'm trying to speak on it on behalf of, because see, my whole thing is, if you are someone that wants to be represented by the Black community, you need to do better, and you need to not give the racist people fuel for their racism by acting like a fool and acting like somebody that doesn't have sense and know how to behave, because then you end up giving them the props to be able to be very yeah, look at those Black people, look at that Meghan Markle, and then you give them a reason for their racism when you don't know how to behave. That's how I see it, and that's my criticism for Megan. Be better, because there are people who are racist and who are going to be very not nice towards you because you're aligning yourself now as a Black woman. But I only bring this up because there have been some things that have happened to me personally in the Megxit community. Some very racist Megxit people. Okay. And I don't say that with joy, but I do want to be transparent about my experiences, because seeing that is very shocking. And I say it because I've actually seen proof of it. I have seen proof of the racist Megxit people. And they exist. Some of the people that are talking about Meghan Markle are very racist. And I say it because they've been racist towards me. And it's disgusting. And I'm not going to give Meghan an out, because she needs to be better because of the racist Megxit people. And I'm very happy that I'm able to speak about this on my platform and on other platforms, because when you do what you do and make it about race, that's where I draw the line. I don't know what I've done to anybody to warrant their racism towards me. Oh, yeah. There have been some very nasty people who are of like mind commentary as myself, who are racist towards me. And they know who they are. And now I know who they are. But I can say that there are people that support me that are not in that group of Megxit people. And they know who they are. You know who they are because you see me with them on their channels. And, you know who I know because you know me. But I find it to be surprising. I never wanted to believe that people would be so racist. I never wanted to see it, but I've always said racists exist. That's never going to go away. It's always going to be here. But we all know that Meghan has done things that people are critical of, and that's not racism. That's because of her character. But I believe now more so now than ever that a lot of people are very critical, and they want to be critical because they have racism in them. And I think you can learn from your experiences. And I think people who may be racist, who don't have Black friends, who've never been around Black people, they can learn to be better. So if you are a racist, go get you some Black friends. Get you some Black friends, because you need to learn some things. And especially to Meghan Markle, she needs to learn to be better because of the racist people out there. It's more of a criticism, if anything, to Meghan because of the way she behaves on the world stage, where we see her behaving, the way she's so controlling over Harry, the way she's treated the royal family, who did nothing but try to accommodate her and her minority status into this all-white institution. And because of what happened to Princess Diana, I think that's how they try to be more accommodating to Meghan, because of what they learned from how, Princess Diana felt. So there's a responsibility of, people that, if you feel that you are somewhat heavily biased or racist, and maybe you need to not be that way, I just say, go get you some Black friends. Seriously. Try to understand that not all Black people are like a Meghan Markle. Not all Black people are like what you see in the media, where you see a lot of violence, a lot of overly sexualized Black people, where you see criminal behavior. That's not all Black people. And I think it's a time for reckoning. And I think, people like Meghan Markle have a responsibility to also be an example to, good character when you are going to be a person of color. Although we don't see her as a person of color, really, because she doesn't look Black. But like I've always said, she's considered Black because of the one drop rule. And I know there's a lot of controversy around the one drop rule, but I'm just telling you from my own experiences in the Black community, that's how we see it. Look at her mother. Now, her children, I think that's another story, because they really don't look Black. Your mama don't look Black, but your grandma does. So, okay, we gonna call you Black with the side eye. But yeah, okay. You got a kind of Black, because the experience of a person that looks Black is a lot different than a person who's Black that doesn't look Black. There's a difference. And if some of you have seen in my book, my mother is in this book, and my mother grew up in a very racist Alabama, Mobile, Alabama, and she was criticized as a young girl because she looks white. And so there's a lot of racism amongst Black people, amongst light-skinned Black people. And she grew up, hated by a lot of Black people because of the color of her skin. So it's a very complex topic. And I think something that I do want to talk more about, because I think there's a lot of ignorance in people when you don't associate with Black people by the things I've seen that Black people have said, or people have said about me, the racist Megxit people that I've the proof of racism that I've actually seen. Yeah. So I want to just really quickly look at, Michelle, thank you. Meghan is a race baiter. And that's a good point, Michelle. Meghan is a race baiter. And she did it for self-gain, not selfish, but self-gain, to monopolize race to make money. That's why Meghan did it. Meghan clearly used race to make money. She wanted to create a problem that would give her an out to leave the royal institution, to not have to adhere to the rules and to be a part of the monarchy. She wanted to branch off, and she used racism as an excuse. So yes, you're right, Michelle. She is a race baiter. But I'm very, very, I don't know, disappointed in the people that, who I thought could be more about Meghan's character and less about her race. Because at this point, I have to assume that, maybe some of these Mexican people are doing it because they're racist. I mean, I don't know. It looks like it. Now that I got proof of it. But it doesn't give Meghan an out by a long shot, because she needs to be better. Yeah. So I just wanted to thank you, Michelle, for being a member of my P Diamond membership for 2 months now. Awesome, 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 awesome. Thank you so much. And who was the other person that said to? I saw something. Oh, hello, Patricia and Otis says, thank you, Lori Ovali. Is that how you say it? Thank you so much for your membership as well. Yeah. It's really, really intriguing what has happened in this community that has just grown to be so big. There's so many people now talking about it. It's just a very unique community, and I'm glad I'm a part of it. I really am, and I hope that I can offer value in this Megxit community. But at the same time, very disappointed in some people. But I'm not gonna create drama out of it. I'm just gonna state the fact and move on. No drama here, y'all. No drama. But I wanted you all to know. I wanted you all to know that, yeah. Get you some Black friends if you don't have some and you're racist. Let's just have that as some advice to some people. And that's what I wanted to say. Yeah. Now, I think I would love to show Otis to some of you, and thank you all so much for being here today. And also, we need to find out what's going on with Sentebale, right? Sentebale has to be releasing some kind of report on the investigation into the charity of Harry, which has not yet happened. Yes. Yeah. I'm going to bring Otis to say hi to you all before I leave today. But very curious to hear your thoughts. Very curious. So this person says, am I using a race card now? No, I'm not using a race card. I'm just telling you that I've seen people be racist towards me. That's all I'm saying. I don't know if that's why you would say that's using the race card, but I'm just saying I've seen it. I've seen it. And that's the truth. Let's see here. Who else? And Kim M says, Janine, I've experienced constant negative jokes because I'm Polish. People will always prey on someone. And that is so true. People will always prey on somebody because I think they're just ignorant to other people and they're being different. So, it happens. I mean, you're never going to get rid of racism. It's going to always be here. Racism is here to stay. Okay? Come here, Otis. Come here. Come here, Otis. Come here. Otis, come here. Come here, Otis. Come here. Opinion says wouldn't watch a YouTuber channel if I knew the content creator was racist. And I believe you. I believe you when you say that. Yes. It's just shocking. It's sad. It's sad that some people have to be like that. Here's Mr. Otis. And there's so many videos of my Otis on my Facebook. So please remember to follow me on Facebook. He just came in from going for his walk. So he is, I have been having so much fun with Otis. He is something else, y'all. He is like, Otis is like my stalker. He is like, he's always there. He is always there. He's always around me. But I love him so much. I wouldn't have it any other way. I'm just so glad that I'm able to be someone that can have a dog. Because before Otis, I could never have a dog. Never. I was just not an animal person. But I've since become an animal person because of, my daughter wanting a dog, So, but I think I can answer some of your questions now. It's already after 6, but I'm just going to try to answer some of your questions and thank the super stickers for coming in. I appreciate it. As you all know, I'll be doing these lives on Thursdays at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, just to talk a little bit about what's been going on in the news. And then also on Saturdays, I do a live with Paula M. And talk about news and have guests on. And I had Zach Peters on. He was amazing. I love talking with him. He knows so much about the Blake Lively and the Taylor Swift and the Justin Baldoni drama. It's just so crazy what is happening there. But very, very interesting to have him on because he knows a lot about what's going on there as well. Yes, the last comment of mine should say no to racism. Absolutely say no to racism. And thank you so much, Lizzie B, for helping out with the commentary here. Let's see here. Yes. And I think we have to, call people out when they're behaving badly. Just like I call out Meghan Markle, okay, I'm going to call out racism too. Ain't no difference. I'm not blind to people being racist. I'm just disappointed in some people. And I think with that said, yes. Thank you so much, Sophie Rowe. We love you. I'm so sorry that you've had such horrible experiences. I am too. But that's life. And I think you have to be able to just deal with whatever life throws you. That's just how it is. I mean, the world's not perfect. People aren't perfect. But when you know better, you should do better, right? Meghan Markle, when you know better, you should do better. Because let me tell you something. That Harry, he is in a bad spot, a very bad spot. And it's coming. We're starting to see it now. I think with Harry and his whole aura and how he looks when he's out with Meghan compared to when he's not with Meghan, how he looks, he seems to not be well. And I think a lot of things are going to happen in this whole thing with the war of the roses, Harry and Meghan. It's going to be ugly. It is going to be ugly. Trust me. I cannot. I mean, oh my. Now, let me just tell you something, Miss Michelle, my friend in the UK, who is saying, Patricia, you love cats. No, you know good and well I don't like no cats. So Michelle, I stayed with when I went to the UK. She has cats. Now, look, I'm not a cat person. I'm sorry. That's a whole nother therapy session for me, okay? A whole lot more trauma than a dog. But yes, I'm sorry. Cats, I can't do cats. But maybe another time. In my second life, my next life, I can do some cats. Yes. So, oh wow. Thank you, how do you say Jan? How do you say that super? How do you say the name? Sarish? Jean? Is it Jean? With a yeah, super sticker. Thank you so much for your super sticker. And I appreciate your support here. And I also want to say thank you to everybody that has made monthly donations to my charity work. I see you, I hear you. I'm thankful for your support. It's not easy trying to educate and be a part of people who really benefit from, you know, the work that I do in my charity. But thank you. I see all the people that are supporting my charity monthly, and I really, really do appreciate it so much. And thank you so much, Jean, for your super sticker. It really means a lot to get this support. I'm going to be doing these Thursday lives at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I hope that you would come here and support my channel while I'm here and have meaningful conversation and dialogue around what's happening in the Megxit community and what is happening within the royal family. I think King Charles, there's something, I don't know. He went to Canada. We saw that he was most recently in Canada and he looked well. He looked really well. And that's a good thing, right? That's a good thing. And very appreciative of just everyone supporting me as I speak about this, because I'm learning as I go as well. I'm learning as I go, and I feel very grateful that I've been accepted by so many people to talk about the things that I talk about, because there's a lot you can choose from. A lot of people are speaking about what I talk about, but I appreciate that you respect and appreciate my perspective as a Black American woman to speak about the things around the royal family, my experiences, and you know, just in general, teachable moments around life skills, things that Meghan Markle does not have. I mean, my goodness, the woman has ruined an amazing opportunity. Yeah. All right. So with that, thank you for all of your super stickers. I appreciate your support so much. I'm trying to figure out how I can show more appreciation for all the super stickers that I get and for the people that support me. I mean, I'm making some headway with some new things that I'm trying. I've got someone helping me now, and I'm trying to create more value on this platform, because I appreciate it so much, and it's changed my life. Literally, it's changed my life, the good and the bad. Even the criticism is good, because guess what? I like to learn from my criticisms. I like to learn and be better when people criticize me. If it's warranted, if you're not just saying something to be mean, if you're saying something to make me better, I'm going to listen and thank you for it, even if I don't want to hear it, even if I don't like it. That's how I teach the students that I work with, and that's how I want to learn, be better by constructive criticism. So thank you for that. I really do thank you. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for being here and for all of your support. And I will see you all live again next week, Thursday, for my next live, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And with that, I will see you next week in a video tomorrow. I will have a video later tomorrow. Okay, take care, and I'll see you next week. Bye.